these teams do have continuity. They've been playing with each other since they were however old. You know what I mean? They grew up playing with each other. We're over here, we throw a bunch of stars on the team and try to get them to, just go get the job done. And
Team USA has a big problem and almost no one is talking about it. How are they going to get these superstars to work together? Every one of them is a superstar on their own team, but someone has to be a role player for this team to have success. While the men's squad is playing tight games against rivals like Germany and South Sudan, the women's team is dealing with injuries and inconsistent performance of players. On Pat McAfee Show Live, he brought Austin River to the show to talk about this problem. Let's see what he said on this matter.
It's out, you think, Austin?
No, I think we're in for some competitive basketball.
Jeez. We don't want that.
How? World's catching up.
I know, and from a roster standpoint, nobody competes with USA, right? We know that. We could go down, even yesterday's Germany team, if we go position for position, there's not a position on the floor where their guy's better than one of our guys. But, these teams do have continuity. They've been playing with each other since they were however old. You know what I mean? They grew up playing with each other. We're over here, we throw a bunch of stars on the team and try to get them to, just go get the job done. And in history's past, we've been able to do that. Obviously, with European basketball, making strides. I don't want to say catch up. A lot of people say catch up. They haven't caught up, because if that was the case, the NBA would be 80% European players. The reason why it's, mostly American players is because we still dominate basketball as a whole. With that being said, they have definitely gotten, just loads better, to the point where now when we compete against these teams, this isn't just some sure thing anymore. We can't just go out there and just dominate. They have, all these teams have NBA players as well. They're not superstars, but they're NBA players. And in one game, Pat, as you know, that's why March Madness is so special, right? In one game, anybody can beat anybody. There's like a different type of confidence. Patty Mills in the NBA is like a role player. I don't know if you've ever seen him play for his prospective team. He's out there, looks like goddamn Stephen Curry when he's playing for his country. So it's like,
yeah, but we got Steph Curry playing on our team. We got the actual Steph Curry on our team. That's why it doesn't make sense. I thought this was going to be Harlem Globetrotters versus Washington Generals.
Yeah.
Forever. Okay, just forever. That's what I thought this was going to be in basketball terms, because of what you said. But I guess having an actual team is just so much more important than we make it out to be.
I suppose.
If our guys played like their guys, we'd win by 40.
What are their guys doing? What are their guys doing? They're smacking the floor.
Yeah, no, their team, all these teams are based on ball movement. Their whole game is predicated on ball movement. They know they can't out-talent us, right? No one's going to do that. They are able to, and there's FIBA rules. FIBA rules are a little bit different, but their games are all predicated on ball movement. And these guys have been playing with each other, Pat, since they were 12 years old, 13 years old. So they just have a natural chemistry about them that we cannot just come up with in a month's time. But what we can do is, like we said, we have way more talent than these teams. So we have to rely on that and hope that we have guys that are able to at least buy in short term to where they can play a role. You have Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, and these guys are playing roles. They got to be a role player, because they're playing with Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Stephen Curry. Those are the actual best players on the team. So it's very weird for these guys to put them in these slots. And I love Ant's confidence, but Ant's they got to play around me. Well, it's I hear you, bro, but LeBron James is the best player on the team. So it's just it's just a little bit new for some of these guys, and it takes time.
Go ahead, AJ.
What can Steve Kerr do, Austin, for these guys?
Given the fast-changing global competitiveness, this scenario begs issues regarding whether Team USA can maintain its supremacy. A major component of these challenges is the historical continuity other nations have created from early on, therefore contrasting with the American technique of developing elite teams.
What can Steve Kerr do, Austin, for these guys? What is he telling these guys in practice and during games? Because it's true. It makes sense. Yeah, they're going to have a couple hiccups because all these guys are used to being the man. They all, isolation ball, they can go get a bucket whenever they want. How do you coach these guys to actually, have your role and, hey, defer to LeBron at times and Steph? How does that come together?
Man, that's a great question. I would say it's a multi-million-dollar question, right? That's why they got Steve Kerr in that seat. It's how do you get these guys to buy in a role that they have never been in their entire life in a matter of a couple weeks span? I would imagine film has to be very important, Because the one thing that's evident, it's like, yo, we're beating South Sudan by 1 point. Like this type of stuff can't happen. So clearly what we got going on is not working. And for us to be successful, we need guys to, unselfishly buy in. I think you use examples before us. Kobe Bryant was a guy that came on the Redeem team and said, I don't have to shoot a shot to win a game. I'm going to come out here and just defend everybody. And him coming into camp, remember like they had guys partying and he was going to the gym at 5 a.m. and how serious he was taking it and how he led by example. These are the things that like LeBron James is going to have to preach. It can't just be Steve Kerr. LeBron James got to set the tone.
And he is, right?
Which I'm sure he will be.
And he is.
Absolutely. Look at him right now. Look what he's doing. He's dominating at 40 years old, 39 years old, 40 years old. This guy's dominating the Olympics, man. It's just unbelievable. We'll never see anything like this again in the sport of basketball. I really don't believe so.
Past achievements have lessons to be discovered as well. Players like LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, among the Redeem team of 2008, showed the value of dedication to the success of the team and leadership. Early morning gym workouts and defense-oriented focus by Bryant set an example for the type of unselfish performance vital in international contests. LeBron James and other team leaders are working to copy this approach right now, but the results of their efforts are yet to show.
Yeah, Austin, so going back to the Redeem team and like Coach K and everything, do you think Team USA is better served to have an elite college coach be the head coach as opposed to a current NBA head coach who may have like preconceived notions about, some of these players? Like, does that messy things up at all? Like, would it make more sense if they just got like a, Coach Cal or someone like, or Coach K come back and coach the team?
Man, that's a fair question.
Hurley.
I don't know if I have the.
Hurley, yeah,
that's a great
Dan Hurley.
question. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a great question, just due to the fact that, having Coach K in there did put him in this gray area of space where there was no ties, there's nothing biased in that locker room. I don't think that's an issue with Steve Kerr, just because the one player he is tied to, I don't think anybody is second guessing his spot on the team. That's Stephen Curry. You know what I mean? So it's like, it'd be one thing if, like, say it was a coach of like Devin Booker or Tatum or Ant, you could say, well, wait, is this guy going to be, in the middle ground? How is he going to treat his player versus other players? Is it going to be weird here? Steve Kerr is one of those guys that I think, is pretty well placed, obviously, in the sport of basketball as a coach. And because the guy that he's tied to is Steph, I don't think there's any bias issues on that.
Yeah.
So,
Coaches such as Steve Kerr have an enormous responsibility to tackle these difficulties. They have to not only plan, but also help athletes to fit positions they are not familiar with and control egos. Kerr's method will have to combine motivating ideas with tactical changes to help the players feel unity and direction.
well, it'll definitely be difficult for Kevin just from the aspect of it's tough not to have any pre-games and just jump into the Olympics. That's asking a lot from him. If there's anybody that could do it, it's him. I feel like you could put Kevin on any team in the league, man, and the guy just goes out there and scores a basketball. I don't know any players that are just as gifted as him on the offensive end that I've ever seen in my life. With that being said, their starting lineup or the lineup, more importantly, that they're going to finish games with, I believe, will be Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and that fifth spot will either be whoever's playing better out of Tatum, Book, or Ant. I really do believe that will be the finishing lineup of these games.
The problem of including fresh talents like Kevin Durant complicates things even further. Durant's comeback to the squad will bring even more difficulty, as integrating a top-notch player into an already growing system calls for meticulous preparation and modification.
Like, because defense?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Just experience overall. I think they have him on the team just because he is one of the future point guards of the league, right? And just the type of kid he is. And I think it's because of what you just said, Pat. He has no problem whether he plays 40 minutes or 0 minutes. He's going to come to the game with the right attitude. And I think that's why they put him on the team and not a Derek White. I meant they put him and Derek White on the team and not like a Jaylen Brown or something like that. There's a reason why they kind of asked Kawhi Leonard to step away, right? Sometimes too much is too much. They have too much on the floor, too many guys that need the ball. USA has always had a history of like those random guys, a Michael Redd, a Tayshaun Prince, a Iguodala, a Carlos Boozer. You need some of these guys who have zero ego, who can play or not play. It has to be a team. It can't just be a bunch of monsters on a team. Otherwise, it's not going to gel right, and we're going to end up losing to Brazil or
South Sudan,
France, or whoever. Yeah.
Balancing the inclusion of such a player with the current team structure will help to guarantee that the integration is seamless and does not compromise team cohesiveness. Finally, the present challenges of Team USA draw attention to a more general problem confronting American basketball: the rising relevance of team chemistry and continuity in a globally more competitive environment. While individual skill is still vital, team performance is starting to take the front stage.
Before they start, is that better for them? Like for South Sudan, do they now think that they can beat Team USA and that is better for their mindset? Or are we just doing this because we want to kind of give them that little like, hey, maybe you can beat us, and then beat the shit out of them when the Olympics start?
I do think if we play South Sudan again, we will win by more than 40 points. I'm not even kidding. I think, I say that just because that game for them, I think it was a wake-up call in a lot of different ways, and I think that will be a game that if we do play them again, they're going to try to get it back in blood. On the other side, South Sudan's walking in there with tons of confidence, and I'm talking about versus anybody, especially other teams. Just think, if they just lost to USA by 1, they think, man, we could compete and beat anybody. They're going in there with a ton of confidence. Shout out to them for, that was a hell of a game. And those guys played their heart out.
Team USA has to change its approach to concentrate on creating a united team dynamic, while other nations keep improving their long-term development programs. Only thus will it be able to maintain its hegemony on the international scene and handle the difficulties presented by fast-changing international competitiveness.
There's this weird thing with USA basketball. It's like, again, people are talking about Jason Tatum. You're in a competitive situation. You have to field a competitive starting lineup, second unit. Everyone has to have individual roles, and your roles are not going to be what it is for your individual team. LeBron is not going to have the same role. AD is not. Doesn't mean that these guys, Kevin Durant's not going to have a number like that. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means, in my opinion, that each individual is going to have to sacrifice, but there's going to be guys that have to sacrifice more than others. What my point is that you look at this and it's like, there was no team. We can't go back and do that. So it's like, which team was more dominant? Now, the game of basketball is harder now than it was in 92. But end of the day, that team, what did they go against? 9 pros in 92, and they're 60-something this in 2024. They were the most dominant team against their competition. Kevin was the best. Kevin was the best player.
Team USA also faces the critical challenge of lack of adequate early preparation. Regardless of the fact that the team contains a number of star players, it still doesn't make up for the fact that our players do not receive the same type of training and bonding which exist in other teams. For instance, in European teams like Germany, players are trained together from a young age up till the level when they become professional players.
I was waiting for this team to turn up the intensity. I feel like in the exhibition games, they were kind of still in that preseason mode. And Kerr, was like, okay, like it's time for us to pick it up. Now, obviously didn't get off to a great start with the 10-2, but anytime you can bring Kevin Durant off your bench, you know what I mean? Like, and just watch him just take over. And this guy hasn't played in probably about 2 weeks. But between him and LeBron, the guys with the most Olympic experience, I feel like they took it upon themselves to really kind of get us going. And once they took over, it was really fun to watch.
Curry, what did he have? He had 11 points. The 3 he hit at the end was just absurd. But it's like he didn't have very many points. But there's going to be a game where he might have 15 and a quarter. It's just about fielding that lineup. So did I see what I needed from Embiid? Yes. I saw him give a couple of minutes. We beat Jokic, we beat Serbia, and we moved on. We won by what, 15, 18?
26.
Same difference. Combine those two.
110, 84.
What my point is that you look at this and it's like, there was no team. We can't go back and do that. So it's like, which team was more dominant? Now, the game of basketball is harder now than it was in 92. We have to wait till the end result so we can see, look, if they go and beat everybody.
But in the case of Team USA, star players are lumped together and expect to recreate stellar games on the court. The fact is, the margin which the team has kept all these years and the pace of competence and domination in the game is being breached gradually because of the lack of this basic training principle. There is bound to be an initial lack of chemistry when new players are bounded together at the very peaks of their careers. This imbalance can last for a long time amongst the team. A clear description of how star quality can become an actual problem for the entire team.
And that's what see, Ocho. When you go to the Olympics or you're on an all-star team, you have to understand. And I
Yes,
get
sir.
it. Well, everybody said, "Well, I'm an all-star too, and I'm Olympian too." You are, but at that point in time, in the back of Steve Kerr's mind, that's Serbia. That's
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic. Three MVPs in the last 4 years. They got Bogdanovic. He's an NBA player. They have Havik. He's an NBA player. They're a really good team.
Right.
They're a really good team.
Yeah, very.
I'm trying to win. Damn your feelings. I hate, honestly, Ocho, I hate, because, look, not now, but when we played in the Pro Bowl, Ocho, you know how that thing got? When that thing got late in the game, they weren't running no subs in and out.
yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Oh no.
We riding the
no.
big guns.
Oh no.
So,
Yeah.
but
Now all the pressure's on Kerr. The pressure's not even on the players. It's the pressure on Kerr now having to be able to figure out how to get everybody in, how to keep everybody happy, and not have the team splinter within, because everybody wants to be able to get their playing time and showcase their skills on the biggest stage representing their country.
Team France,
That'd be
will
real
this
nice.
team win gold? AD referenced the movie Space Jam and stated Americans understand how strong the international competition has become. We don't take these things for granted. You don't come in like, we're the monsters and they're just going to we're going to crush everybody. Like those days are long gone, which I say.
Yeah.
Because, Ocho, you got to think about it. If I'm not mistaken, I think in 92, there might have been less than 10 international players in the NBA.
Right.
The prominent ones that we knew of, Sharunas Barcelonas, we knew about Tony Kukoc, we knew about Arvidas Sabonis up in Portland, but there were not a whole lot. There are 61 international players currently in the NBA, and there was not any international players. We're not even in the top 30. The best player in the NBA is an international player, Nikola Jokic. So you might have three of the top 5. You could make a case. Giannis, he's an international player. He's Greek. He's playing for the Greek national team. What about Luka? Even though they didn't make it, Serbia. Those are the players. The Serbian team has 3 players that's currently in the NBA. The best player is on the Serbian team. Look at Canada. Shai Gilgeous, Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett, Lou Dort, Dylan, Powell. No team in the 90s, other than the Americans, had 6 players that were in the NBA on their roster. It's different now.
But this is it's different now. And even when I think about it, you think about the international players in its totality catching up to the U.S. in general. But when you look at it, the U.S. players are so deep. The starting 5, the bench is great. I think when you look at the international teams, they have 1 or 2 players that are very good. Obviously, some prominent players that are in the NBA as well. But I don't think they have enough meat and potatoes to compete as long as the U.S. players are playing to their full potential. Each player individually, and they're playing as a team. And once the chemistry hits, I don't think they stand a chance. I just don't. I'm just being honest.
It's never safe to compromise team effort and team health on the basis of individual skill and competence. It doesn't work in the game of basketball and has never worked. Rival teams in Europe and around the world have seen this obvious weakness and are already in works to exploit it. If there is no meaningful change in the entire structuring of the USA, a defeat is bound to occur, every other action being taken. Especially the tiring reliance in the sheer number of star players on the team would only delay the inevitable for a while, and eventually the lack of grooming and training among teammates will shine through, bare and broad in the face of everyone to see and witness. That's, of course, if changes are made to how the organization and administration of Team USA is being handled.
Now, there might be some times where the games will be good, they'll be close. Now, if we can eliminate those turnovers, but if we playing efficient, up and down the court, they ain't doing that with us.
These guys been playing together all their life. They didn't just. Imagine you take a team of all-stars. Now granted, it's different in football because we've been playing it and really no other country really plays it like we play it. But if you you put an all-star team together and you put it against a team that have been playing, they like, hold on, they know everything. So these teams, they've been playing 10, 12 years together. They play all the time. Every international competition, they send the same group of guys. for the last decade plus. So it's hard to try to put LeBron and KD and Steph. Yes, we know what they are individually, but they need to harness some of the individuality and play as a team.
Right. As a team, yeah, most definitely. I think that is something that they're good at doing. We don't really have. I don't think we really have any me type players that are on the team. I think they play extremely well. They all know how each other like to play. They know their strengths. They know their weaknesses, and I think that's why the key word I said is the chemistry. If the chemistry is on point, if you get that chemistry early, I think they're gonna be fine. And just picturing them losing, it doesn't even seem right, despite the international teams having quality players as well. Some of them being the best here in the States when we are in season. When we are in NBA season, I just don't see Team USA losing unless, God forbid, everybody just has a horrible game.
The sport of basketball has its roots in the U.S., and whether or not those foundations will hold steady or not depends on the investment channeled into the fostering of team chemistry, which clearly seems to be lacking amongst players. Domination and complete hegemony during the game is less dependent on star quality as much as it relies on the fluidity and balance created by team chemistry. One way to see such come into fruition is deliberate creation of a training program that sees players grow together on the pitch. This will guarantee complete and utter control of the reins of the game and solidify the claims made of being the champions of the sport.